Hey, welcome to SAB Chronicles, aka the COVID Chronicles. We're going to dive deep into the teachings of a few of our CEO Action Pod groups spanning from 2020 all the way to 2024. This series takes us through the fire of COVID to post-COVID, and now who really gives a care about COVID? If you listen to this series, you're going to gain inside knowledge of strategies of the past and strategies of the future. Hold on to your seats as you're about to get a PhD in business. Buckle up and let's get rolling. Hey, are you looking to scale your business from 5 figures to 6 figures or 6 figures to 7 figures? If you are, I have the perfect thing for you. What I want you to do today is I want you to go download a book. This book is going to take you through my 3-pillar system. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to growfast.cash. I say again, go to growfast.cash and you're going to be able to download my free international best-selling book, which is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. You can take that book. It's going to help you scale your business to the next level. Again, go download it. Be good, be brief, be gone. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. Enjoy.
I'm really excited about this year. I think we're going to have a really good year this year. And, we're in first quarter right now. So it's really time to, put your freaking seatbelt on and pull up your bootstraps, get off your ass and move now. And move fast and furious. Everybody seen what Will Black posted? Freaking amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pulling your boots up and freaking getting to work right there. That's what that is, okay? That's the result of that. And that wasn't no small result. That was a big result. So that's what I want to see everybody doing, between first and second quarter, is really pushing the envelope hard and fast, first and second quarter. Because come August, well, y'all are coming out here in August, so you got to have time to take a knee in August or July or August. I haven't made up my mind yet, but anyway. So without further ado, I have Mr. Michael Sipe on with us tonight. He is an executive level coach and strategy guy. He's also came on board with me with our white label program. And so he's plugged into some of our concepts and whatnot. He's a prior service veteran, a Navy pilot, and I won't hold that against him. I think me and Robert already had that discussion about who the Marine Corps falls under, the Navy, right?
Well, I mean, there's yeah, okay. So they got the chain of command, but we know who does the real work in the relationship.
And like I said,
They're great taxis. They get us everywhere on time.
Well, you said, well, you know who does the real work, and I said, well, the Coast Guard does.
They got a Coast Guard base around the corner. You go out there, and the guys are just lounging around on the yard, staring out at the ocean. I'm like, man, the life of Riley.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so Michael's been in the big companies, Fortune 100, Fortune 1000, all these big companies doing what he does best in those companies and in the small companies too. So it's got a huge base of knowledge he's bringing, and I'm going to turn this over to him and let him impart some knowledge for the first chunk of this, and then we'll conclude in the second half. All you, Michael, take her away.
All right. Thanks. Hey, everyone. Joel and Robert and William met you previously, but for Artie, Ivan, Terry, and Michael, good to meet you all here today. So I'd love to jump in and talk a little bit about the energy that we have as individuals and especially as executives for our businesses, and how energy plays a role in our leadership and our effectiveness as a leader. So before I get started, I want to talk a little bit about the core energy coaching. Are any of you coaches or had experience working with coaches to teach a little bit about core energy as a person? Nope. Okay. So knowing that, you'll learn something new here today, which will be great. The other thing is when we think about assessments, there's the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Most of you are probably familiar with that, where it's, you're an INTF or an ENTJ or something like that. And the first letter talks about whether you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. And that's a personality-based assessment. So what I'm going to talk about a little bit today is the attitude side, the energy that we bring as a leader to our work and to our employees and to our customers. So first, you probably also know Clifton Strengths or Gallup Strengths Finder. We can identify some of those core strengths that we have, which are essential to us in knowing how to do a little bit better as a person. But when we go through stressors throughout the day, we have setbacks or we have advances in our business, those affect our attitude at any given moment. And over time, that attitude is an energy, and that energy can be assessed. So, Jason, if you could help me out a little bit here, could you, am I able to share my screen? Yeah, I think so. Can you all see that? Okay.
Yep, we got it.
All right, good. So there's 7 levels of energy, and let me, talk a little bit about obviously why one wants to be aware of it is to become a great leader. There's one great quote here about discovering the potential in others. And then it's not so much what you say, it's why you say it. So if you know Simon Sinek, and he always talks about why. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we saying what we're saying? And a lot of what's behind that why is the energy that we use. So when we talk about energy, I'm talking a little bit about the attitude versus the personality. So when I say energy, what I mean is our thoughts that we use, whether they're conscious or subconscious thoughts, the emotions attached to those thoughts, and the actions we take. So when I'm talking energy, I'm not talking about wind generators, solar. I'm not talking about, the calories in food. I'm talking about how we as a person express our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. And that combined is the energy I'm talking about. So I'm going to give you an example here. And I'm sure a lot of you will relate. So Mary is a business owner. She has 16 restaurants and specializing in rotisserie chicken. So they had sit down and take out and had a pretty good business going in the city that she was located in and in the surrounding counties. Well, one day she gets a notice that her supplier of chickens had an E. coli outbreak, and she lost 95% of her inventory as a business owner because she didn't have any chicken available to sell. So talk about setbacks. That's a pretty big setback right there when you have no sales. Second thing, 2 days later, the county health inspector comes in, and the inspector shuts them down for not being clear whether they have the right sanitization practices in place to handle the E. coli outbreak. So she's got 2 big stressors right there, right? She shut down because she doesn't have any supply, and then the government has basically come in and shut her down temporarily as well. So how we deal with that, how she dealt with it, is an energy thing. On top of that, the next day, she got a call from her mom, and her dad had passed on. are not uncommon. So when we talk about that, I do the fetal position and cry. Like those are some pretty heavy things. So when we are talking about energy in this particular instance, how we react to our setbacks determines how we're going to move out of it. So in the 7 energy levels you see here on the screen, the lowest level, level 1, is at the bottom. And the way it's described from a person perspective is it's sort of a victim mentality. Why does this always happen to me? Why is the world against me? Or why are my suppliers not working with me? Why is my marketing strategy not working? If one is continually focused on this lower level kind of mentality, it doesn't set us up very well, and it's not healthy for us as leaders of our companies. As you move up the scale, maybe you become a little more powerful about it. So level 2, the antagonist, I kind of refer to that more as a forcer, meaning like, hey, this sucks, but I'm going to power through it. I'm going to just put a lot of willpower into it, and we're going to power through it. Level 1, level 2 are what's called a catabolic energy. So I'd like to pause here and ask you guys some questions. Just either you can put it in the chat or even just shout it out. But what's something that was maybe a stressor for you 2 years ago, but today you don't think a whole lot about it? You just kind of deal with it and move on because you've experienced it. Anyone? Bueller?
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus? What I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
Well, I mean, if you look at 1 year ago, look at COVID and what that did from a stressor perspective, right? So, yeah. And how do people react? I think, if you react the right way, you pivot, you change, you adapt. And I think that's what you mean by that first and second level, correct?
Yep.
By the connector and creator. So.
Yep. Yeah, no, those are good examples. That's a pretty big one, right? But is there something that you can look back on, for example, and say, hey, when I was starting my business or I was going into a new market segment, something that was intense for me back then just isn't intense for me anymore.
I would say overload or overwhelm especially when you're first getting started in something. And even if you've already experienced that 10 times starting other companies, that feeling never goes away.
Right.
It's always there because you don't know what the next day is going to bring. And I've been through this myself a bunch of times. And, but it's a feast or famine thing. You either get yourself through it or you don't. And that's what makes a successful business versus one that's not.
Yeah, absolutely. So how we pivot, how we are agile, has a lot to do with the attitude we're taking on with that, right? So that's a really good example. So one of the things is that you can look at this, and if you're without stress, there's no setbacks, there's nothing really stressful on your plate. You can see where, as a CEO, some of the ideal energy levels to be at are sort of that level 6, the connector, looking for opportunities with other business partners. Maybe you're actually working on a project together with some other business partners, so you're collaborating at sort of a level 5. But up there at level 7, if you're at the creator level, you're actually thinking a little bit more about a vision. Where am I going to go? What are some opportunities that are out there? And those ahas start clicking more and more at that higher energy level. So what I think the big thing to take out of today is I want you guys to be a little more energy aware. If you can say, hey, I've got some stressors on my plate. How can I reframe that? How can I look at it in a little different way to get back to a level 5, level 6, or level 7 where I can execute better as a business leader? That's what I'm hoping you can take a little bit away from today. So this is sort of an eye chart here, but basically it's in these concentric circles. The middle there is where we're solely focused on ourselves. And as we move out, we become more aware of what's going on around us, and we become wiser, we become more accepting, we become more, we're able to synthesize things a little bit better, we become a little less judgmental, and we have the opportunity to be creative. And so the things that, as I talked about before, were their thoughts, emotions, and actions. And I broke it down into a little bit easier to see, I think, in this particular chart here, is there's a core thought, there's a core emotion, and there's a core action associated with each energy level. And so if you have an employee that's always late, right, we might get frustrated with them always being late to work. Or maybe somebody's going through a tough time. Their kids are failing school and they need to help out with them at home. So maybe we might be a little more compassionate about our employees in that regard. So the higher we are in dealing with these stressors, what happens is our overall average resonating level, which is the average of all of these throughout the day or over a period of time, rises, and we become better leaders. And here's sort of the why about it. There's an energy leadership assessment that I offer and other coaches like me offer. And basically it's a comprehensive exam. There's five, Forbes ranks 5 major assessments for businesses, and this is one of the 5. And the goal is to say, hey, what's your baseline? What's your average resonating level in energy? And then over a period of time, let's shift our energy to being more aware. How are we employing some of these higher ideals into our mindset and try to boost our average resonating level over time, typically a 6-month period. And so as I talked a little bit about the typical CEO, we're shooting to get a little bit higher. So one of the benefits of this is most people, the average resonating level is about 3.2. So take 1 through 7, smack it all together with everyday life and then stressors in our life. And you take those 2 and marry them up and you come up with about a 3.2 average for most people. Most CEOs, about 3.4. So the goal is to really kind of move a couple standard deviations higher in the average resonating level to something like a 3.4, 3.6. And the higher one up is, the easier it is, because here's some things that benefit. When one shifts from a 2.5 to 3.0, and this is also replicable for a 3.0 to a 3.5, greater financial success, better self-described leadership ability, greater engagement and excitement about work. So if we get burnt out, there's a reason why we're getting burnt out about work. It's obviously a workload, but it's also an approach and how we view that. Get a little more freedom. Who doesn't want more freedom? Obviously a boost in productivity, better time management. And then the most important thing I think here is, for a lot of us, is when we're overtasked and overworked, if we can bring back a little more work-life balance into it by shifting our energy, that becomes a big deal. All right, just these are some basic differences between a manager, which is more of a negative leader with the level 1, level 2, and then there's the anabolic, the positive leader. So I'm sure a lot of you embrace that anabolic leader mindset a lot of the time, but if we're not aware of us slipping into that catabolic role, then that doesn't help us in the long run. So I want to talk a little bit about a typical type A personality. We think about our left brain. We make our choices based off of the facts that we're given. We try to make informed decisions, and it's that left brain logical kind of approach, which is great. It serves us very well in business. But as I just talked about with Mary, and then some of you talked about with the COVID side, there are things that happen. They happen either every day, every week, every month. There's some sort of setback. And as Jason talks about with you, where, hey, we have to pivot at certain inflection points. Is that because we had a setback, or is that because we want to go somewhere else? Well, let's look a little bit at the energy that we bring behind that. So a holistic leader thinks not only logically with the facts that they're given to make an informed decision, but we also think emotionally about, hey, how am I feeling about this particular new path I'm going to go down? And the last one I think is probably the most important piece for CEOs is the intuitive piece. So you guys know that Steve Jobs, right? He said that one of his best skills, most important skills as CEO was his intuition. And what I mean by that is he talked about the gut instinct he had when a new product was presented to him by his team. He would use his intuition to decide whether that was a good idea or not. So they could present all the great reasons, the logical reasons why it was going to work, but he also relied on his gut instinct. So how many of you, just by show of hands, I guess, how many of you think from an intuitive perspective as well as you're evaluating some of your choices as a CEO? Yeah. Right. Now, here's the secret. If we're down at a level 1, a level 2, whether we're frustrated, we're angry, or we feel like we're getting the short end of the stick, that catabolic negative energy doesn't allow the space in our mindset to have that intuitive hit about ideas. So Jason was telling me about how, like, hey, when he gets on a call with folks, within the first few minutes, he can get a read. Maybe it's body language, maybe it's tone of inflection of the person. But what he's really listening to is he's using his intuition to go, why are they saying that? Why are they acting that way with me? And so when they're doing that, he's using that intuition. And I'm sure all of you do that to some extent. But in order to do that, we need to be in that space of a higher energy level where we're at acceptance, we're trying to sympathize things, we're not being judgmental, we're being open to what possibilities are. So that's something that's pretty interesting, I think, from a holistic mindset. Okay, so let's get back to Mary's story. I'll go to the end. The Paul Harvey. Here's the rest of the story. So she said later on, looking back, the E. coli outbreak and losing all the chickens was the best thing that happened to her business. Now, how did she get there? She got there by trying to reframe and look at the crisis as an opportunity. Yes, she had to deal with her dad's death, but what she did was some things that might be intuitive or obvious to us, but she started looking for other suppliers. She found some other suppliers that were outside of her area, but were more reliable. They're not genetically modified, so they were whole range, free range chickens. She was able to take that, start a new marketing campaign, remarket healthier chicken. Her sales went up and her revenue went up, and she eliminated some of the supply bottlenecks she'd had with a single supplier. So all in all, that setback actually turned out to be a blessing for her. But had she not been able to, look at it from, hey, what can I do with this setback? How can I reframe this? That only came from that positive mindset of, what can I do with these setbacks? How can I deal with this stressor? How can I look for opportunity? So let's talk a little bit about what are some of those emotions that we have at those higher anabolic levels. When we're being successful, are we being grateful? Are we expressing joy? Are we being thankful for what we've got? That opens up some space to be appreciative of what's going on in our business. If we're obviously focused on those negative things like, hey, payroll's coming up, or I've got a lot of challenges with this new product I'm rolling out, sucking up a lot of my time, I'm not going to have a lot of time to get to something else, and that sets us back, well, then maybe we need to look at our energy and how we're doing our work at that particular moment. So I'd like to open it up here at this point and ask you all, what's something that's going on with you that might be a stressor in your life that maybe you could reframe or look at a little differently.
Hey, we all want to scale our business. Hey, I have the answer for you today to help you do that. If you're looking to scale from 5, 6, even 7 figures and beyond, book called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. I'm going to give it to you for free. All you have to do is type in growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and you can download the book for absolutely free. I hope the book helps you this year. Take your business to the next level. Again, go grab the book, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. I wish you the best and grow, scale, and win. Thank you for tuning in to the SAB Chronicles, otherwise known as the COVID Chronicles. Hey, we hope you took a lot of great little golden nuggets from this episode. Follow us on social media. Follow us everywhere you can follow us for updates on all of our different series of podcasts, to include this one right here. We hope to see you back as soon as possible. And remember, you should always want to grow, scale, and win. We'll see you on the next episode.
There it is. Magnum. Holy moly.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Dear